Hi guys, Snugboy here. Xenoblade Broke Me. I just finished Future Redeemed and I honestly feel like my brain turned to soup. I don't think I really liked it very much at all. But what's got me more confused is hopping online and seeing that the general reaction is very positive, with lots of people calling it the perfect conclusion to the saga. So what happened? Why didn't I like it? What am I missing? What is wrong with me? Let's discuss that together and find out why. You're my therapist now. And also there will be spoilers for Xenoblade 1, Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 3, just everything Xenoblade. Except for Future Connected. Literally, what did you connect to? Future Redeemed is the long-awaited story DLC to last year's Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And if you recall from that video review, I was a bit mixed on the game. When it worked, it just really hit different. But surrounding that was a lot of unanswered questions, convoluted plot points, and some pretty abysmal pacing. So I was optimistic, nervously, to see how Future Redeemed would sort of fill out the holes I felt the base game had. And before I go a bit too hard on it, I do just want to spend some time talking about everything the game does well, because it does a lot really well. This might quite possibly be the best gameplay loop of the entire series. It's like they finally got every aspect of the gameplay, combat, exploration, side quest, item collecting, optional scenes, to click together in the most cohesive way yet. Doing any of those rewards you with affinity points, which you can use to upgrade your characters, but you get to choose who you upgrade and how and in what way, and it makes the process of doing everything feel so intrinsically linked to everything else and actually encouraged me, even me, to do a load of side quests. Monolith have always been so good at building these massive worlds, but in earlier titles they did really just feel like there were these amazing areas out of the beaten path with just no purpose for visiting. And this time around the locations were done really well. They were more of a physical merge of areas from 1 and 2 that I kinda coveted for the base game. And when they did straight up reuse locales from previous titles, they felt like they were transformative enough that it didn't feel like shallow, cheap fan service. Running around an overgrown, broken down Colony 9 did bring a tear or two to my eye, and the way to repurpose it as a new community was so lovely to see and play. One of my biggest complaints of the base game was that it was a bit thematically unclear. While here it is bold as day that it's focusing on the theme of legacy, both through family and passing on the torch for a future you'll never see, and it's handled so well and strengthens the base game knowing that those 6 dorks did save the day based on the ideas started here. Even if they are a bit too on the nose with the new characters being like, anyone could save the day, it could even be you. And the characters. I was so worried that they would mess up my baby girl Shulk and my baby boy Rex, but they really feel like they walked right out of their respective games. Shulk is a noble leader now, obviously very influenced by Dunban, but he's still got that hopeful fighting spirit that powered him through his journey. And Rex, as one of the 7 Rex fans on the entire planet, I was really anxious that they were going to tone down his goofiness and optimism, turning him into a grizzled Giga Chad or whatever. But oh my god, he is perfect. He is just as goofy, but now he's an old man.
My knees felt that.
And it's not for nothing. They also have these characters aged up personas used for some incredible scenes, and 1 or 2 made me tear up a little. Monolith Soft has always been so good at crafting memorable, fun characters. Oh yeah. And Matthew, our new protagonist, is no exception. He is the perfect level of goofy and fun while having some great dramatic moments too. Also, he says balls.
Man, I'm freezing my balls off.
That feels wrong. But if I'm gonna be honest, the second half of the party didn't really impress me. Nikol and Glimmer had a lot of potential, but the story sort of forgets they exist half the time, with a lot of their big conflict just being a light retread of what the base 6 went through, but not as compelling or fleshed out, with them occasionally being used as puppets for scenes with Rex and Shulk to talk about family. And then there is A, who I absolutely loved. A and Matthew's relationship is such a treat to watch, with them constantly scolding him, actuallying him, and generally being very cool. But, okay, before I start on this thinly veiled rant, let me give you a too long don't read. I think Future Redeemed is really messy, with its focus too zoomed out on the big picture, when what I like about Xenoblade is the focus on the characters with an interesting world as a backdrop to support those narrative themes. And with that out of the way, let's talk about A. A is supposed to be Alvis from Xenoblade 1 split in half, with the other half being just the logical computer side that is this game's villain, Alpha, with A being the conscience/personality side based on the memories of Alvis's time traveling with Shulk in the game. Yet A feels nothing like Alvis from from that game. In my multiple playthroughs, I never got the intention that Alvis enjoyed being on the journey with that gang. In fact, I'm pretty sure they hated it because Reyn was there.
Well, what does this do? Don't touch.
What a mess, Reyn.
So it's weird that suddenly A has this paternal, caring role in the group. And then there's the matter of Alpha, and I just... In Xenoblade 1, Alvis is an incredible character who always knows more than you, is intriguingly super mysterious, and also kind of hot. It's so satisfying when Shulk outright asks,
Alvis, what are you?
Bitch, I'm a fucking computer. Beep boop beep. What do you want me to say? In 2 and Definitive Edition, they went back and retconned Alvis to be one of the 3 cores of the Trinity processor, which was used on the Conduit. But the reason they helped in the first game was because they were shaped slightly by Klaus's regret for his actions, I guess. A little like how Malice was shaped by a Malthus, I guess. But that doesn't matter anyways, because Ontos came back onto a beach, and then Ontos fucked off again to another beach, and this time they just want to kill everything and then start a new world? Again! With the new life of this new world, and I just... And then N comes to stop them. And oh my god. Why would you retcon one of the best parts of 3's narrative? Noah sees the endless cycle of death he and Mio have gone through countless times before and indulges in his selfish desire to live with her in the endless now. Zed says, prove how bad you want it. And so he commits a heinously vile act of slaughtering an entire city of innocents, made worse by the fact a lot of them are his descendants. When M sees this, she is horrified at what the love of her life has become, but from his perspective, he did all of that for her. But now N is doing the noble right thing. Alpha wants to kill and destroy everything and everyone in Ionius and Rapture style fuck the new life off to another new universe. And trying to stop that is the right thing. Right? From the perspective of Noah and the gang, the Endless Now is bad, of course, but I'm sure even they would have sided with N here, as the Endless Now is preferable to everything dying. And I don't think narratively they're trying to start a discussion on if N is morally in the right here, as you're forced to play as Niall in a boss fight, with N poised as the bad guy. So not only was it confusing and undoing of one of 3's great moments, it also made me insane because M still shows up and is like, whoa, what the fuck? Oh my god, why would you do this? And N just doesn't mention his reasons? Why wouldn't you? Such a great moment just undone because they were feeling a bit silly, I guess? Future Redeemed is filled to the brim with so many good bits of character study that harken back to great moments throughout the entire franchise, until it sort of turns into a big pot of messy spaghetti and they put too much sauce in it. Oh, fuck! The entire ending was very off-putting and confusing to me too. I still don't really understand why Alpha wanted to kill everyone. They explicitly say they don't like this old life and want to make a new world, but bestie, you already did that. They also try to explain it's the lack of Logos and Numa's presence to keep Ontos a conscious, but I still don't understand how the logical computer came to this conclusion, and also it did have a conscious, didn't it? It was A, wasn't it? Who was attached at the start? Alpha almost feels like a puppet caricature of our favorite Xenoblade 1 character, swinging around a nostalgic prop and dressing up as that one cool boss we all liked. After you defeat Alpha, the camera gives us a close-up of A's eyes as they say,
I can see it. Clear as day.
A callback to the ending of Xenoblade 1 where Alvis says the same thing.
I can see it. In this world, all life will walk towards the future, hand in hand.
But what's the point? When Alvis gave that speech in Xenoblade 1, there was no reason not to believe them. That cast worked so hard for a boundless new world to relish in after completing their journey. It was sure to have its ups and downs, but it was their world, to carve how they saw fit. So my point being, what weight does A saying this again hold when Alvis said it before, and then the worlds actually merged again and everything went to shit, and then they came back and wanted to kill everyone for some reason? But cool callback, I guess. And it is so insane in Monolith Soft to casually drop this world-building concept of characters from previous games embedding the weapons of characters. Like the OG caster in Noah's sword, and Malos is in N's sword, and Pyramithra in Matthew's gloves. Except no, wait, they're in Noah's sword? But also, are they really in the sword? Because why would Takahashi have Noah throw it away apart from the thematic moment? And also, Shulk and Rex aren't real, they're just avatars? cars? Except they're dead now, probably, because they gave up their life for Nikol and Glimmer. And Riku was here the whole time. How old is he? And his master pod is Melia, and she isn't an avatar, she is real with me, and I can't keep track of any of it anymore! Future Redeemed constantly feels like it's locked in this awkward tie between being Xenoblade 1 again, but also being attached to Xenoblade 3, but also wanting to advance the characters of the previous games forward, but also wanting to MCU style connect itself to every previous video game. That's right, Glupshido from Xenocar is back, baby! HD remaster of Xenocars, Glupshido! It feels like I'm just word vomiting and rambling on, but that is how it feels in my brain, just trying to understand how everything fits together or just works. People constantly say, oh man, what is Takahashi cooking? But I legitimately don't know. I'm looking in his pot and it's impossible to comprehend. Everything in Future Redeemed felt too convoluted to me, too messy, sometimes real matters, sometimes they don't. Great emotional moments from previous games can be undone on the fly if it supports whatever new thing they are trying to do. I don't know, I just feel sad that I didn't like this like everyone else. I want to be saying peak fiction like all my friends, but for me, it just feels like an intangible, hard to understand mess. I don't really care how this game connects to Xenoblade X or Xenosaga Episode 3 featuring the biblical figure of Jesus Christ. Wait, what the fuck? Is that real? Huh? And it's hard not to feel like these great moments from 1 and 2 and even 3 don't really matter. It was our world in the future, and then Shulk and Rex fought so hard to create a new world free of gods for them to choose their way in, which lasted, I guess, 15 seconds before they merged again and 2 different gods popped up to do what they wanted until some random kiddos popped up and fought for their new worlds, which then merged again, and I just... What's the point? What's the point of all this fighting if the conclusions keep getting casually undone? It just makes me feel nothing. I don't want to start a fight, which is something the Xenoblade fanbase loves to do, and I know I'm going to get dogpiled, but I'm not upset at the game or anyone for liking it. I go onto Twitter and see people say it was peak fiction or everything they wanted and more, and I am jealous. I desperately want to see what everyone else sees. But I think I've realized the things I fell in love with about this series aren't really the priority of the creative team. Just call me a Xenoblade 1 elitist at this point, I guess, because I really do feel like that was all lightning in a bottle. It's these engaging characters in this beautifully imaginative concept of a world, in this story with the most exciting twists and turns and perfectly placed moments, while all having its characters feel grounded and real and its core concepts are synchronous with the gameplay as you travel through this gorgeous world. Is it flawless? No, of course not. But to me, everything they cooked back on the Wii came together into one super memorable experience. While I don't like 2 and 3 as much, what I think they do the best are those character studies and beautiful moments which are supported by how likable those characters are. You don't really need to understand in full depth what Alvis is to enjoy the narrative and thematic conclusion of Xenoblade 1. Knowing the lore of the entire universe is not needed to enjoy the ending of Xenoblade 2's story of learning to let go of the past and not let your mistakes from yesterday shackle who you can be tomorrow. Fully understanding the convoluted mess of how merged worlds and reincarnation and old characters being avatars or something isn't what made you cry your eyes out in Xenoblade 3. The worlds of these games, which are complicated at times, always were the foundation for these amazing stories and characters. But Future Redeemed really makes me feel like they're a bit more interested in all the super deep, complicated world building stuff that you need to have an encyclopedic knowledge on the entire series so you can Wojak point when they reference something small, and just for me, I just think in all of its messiness, they lost me. I fell off the bus. At the end of the day, I still think Xenoblade 3 probably should have been its own separate story, and I think, for me, Xenoblade 1 and 2 ended here. And then that was it. Maybe Shulk and Fiora went and got a burger from Hungry Jack's or something, but apart from that, it stopped here. Anyways, tell me why I am wrong and stupid and smelly and an idiot. Or actually, it'd be really cool if you do disagree to tell me why, and maybe we can reach each other in the middle. Thank you to all the members for supporting me and getting to watch the video early, even though I don't think any of you know anything about Xenoblade. And to everyone, have a fantastic day and stay snug. See ya.